Do whatever you
I'm
want.
sorry to set you off, James.
No,
and that's
I
that.
don't understand you.
No,
And
no,
all
but
the
that's-
comments, like even like my close friends who I'm like, no, fucking don't talk about the price with me. Like I'm sick of it. Like if you don't want it, scroll on. Go buy something else.
Hello and welcome to the Press Start podcast, Press Start Australia's weekly video game discussion podcast. I'm your host, Ewan, joined today by my fellow gamers and co-hosts, Brody.
Hello.
James.
Hello.
And back from his trip to go hands-on with the Nintendo Switch 2, it is Shannon.
Hello.
I am certainly going to pick up right where we left off last week in discussing more of the Nintendo Switch 2, as well as hearing from you, Shannon, on what you thought of the console as well, getting to play it and some of the games. Today we're also going to be talking about some Switch exclusive games, the Xbox Showcase being announced, and AFL 26 also being announced. But first, I'm curious, have any of you besides me seen the Minecraft movie?
Negative.
Haven't.
Just
no.
me
I've
that subjected myself to
Zero
that.
interest.
Oh man, I wish I could.
Was your screening like fine? Because I'm hearing a lot of reports, people just like screaming out shit and like laughing, and it just doesn't sound
Yeah.
like a pleasant movie-going experience.
Yeah, there was a bit of that. We went like at 8:30 on a Monday night thinking maybe it'll be a bit quieter, but no, there was lots of like teenagers, like particularly younger teenagers, I would feel, were like leaning into the trends that have emerged around this movie. If you've not seen some of the clips, right? Like they're kind of like talking along with notable quotes in the film. Feel like notable quotes is probably as generous as a compliment I could give it. And they're like throwing popcorn up in the air at the same time and chanting. I did see like the chicken jockey moment that's become like the big one. Some kids in the theater like had the torches on their phones, clearly like videoing it.
Obnoxious.
Yeah. It was a bit obnoxious. I can't say I cared because I was more than happy to be taken out of the insanity that is this film. It's a bad film, but it's kind of a good bad film. It's kind of like
doing well money
one you
wise.
have to experience. And yeah, it is doing insane numbers, Brody. I think it's now the most successful video game adaptation in terms of its like opening weekend.
It took over Mario, yeah.
What?
I don't know if you saw the news today as well that Matt Berry was initially thought
We
of
were
as the
robbed.
role of Steve.
Matt
He
Berry
does have a
as
cameo
Steve.
in the film, a very surprising cameo.
Yeah,
but yeah, imagine him as Steve. So
I
I can't
feel
say
like
if
it's not hugely surprising to me that it's the most successful. Like Minecraft, there's nothing bigger than Minecraft for kids, and it's like school holidays. Like they knew what they were going for with this movie, and it's was always going to.
And I think like the viral like nature of kind of
then you've got people like you going to see it, so you've got every demographic covered.
I was just curious. I saw the 1-star reviews coming out. I was like, I'm curious. Is it really this bad? And it was worse than I thought it was going to be. But in a way that has to sort of be seen to be believed, if you know what I mean. Like I would recommend going and seeing it, but to laugh at it rather than with it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that
I'll
like
wait for VOD.
Yeah. Is that a sound strategy? Did you want more of this? Like, is that? Do you know?
Yeah, true. I'm
Minecraft
certainly curious to
cinematic
see where
universe
they
that's
take
coming.
it now. Like, I
feel
don't
like
want to
everyone
spoil too
hate-watches
much,
stuff
but I
now
feel
as
like
well.
it needs. I don't want to spoil too much, but I feel like it needs said that there is a love interest, like romance plot line with Jennifer Coolidge and one of the villagers from Minecraft. If that doesn't get you curious.
That should have been the movie.
All right, let's move on to much more interesting topics then. And Shannon, we are a week on from the Nintendo Switch being announced, fully, I guess, properly revealed. There's a few things I kind of want to unpack, I feel like, now that a bit of time has passed. Obviously, some more news has been trickling out too. Firstly, pre-orders have been delayed in the US and Canada in the wake of all the tariffs being imposed on imports in the US. Without kind of getting into that, I don't think any of us are particularly equipped to talk about like the economics of what that all means. But What is your gut telling you at this stage about the likelihood of the console getting delayed or maybe kind of prices increasing?
Delayed, I would say there's like no chance of that happening. I think Nintendo's like said they've got stock ready to go in every country, and like they've been working towards this date for a long time, so I can't see that happening. And I think with the 90-day extension, like technically they would be okay to just go ahead as normal. Yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to comment on because we don't know how much it costs or like what they're making on it. I think they'd just be looking at it and making sure that like, yeah, it's a hard one, right? Because you can't start like higher and then lower it after like 3 months either. Like you have to know that the price you're committing to is going to last a year or whatever. I think they'll just be looking at everything, right? Like it's like, do we keep consoles the same and keep game prices the same? Can we lower the game prices a little bit? Like what can they do to... Nintendo's not going to lose money on a console. Like we know that they've never been a company to lose money on selling hardware. So if the tariffs mean they're going to have to raise the price, I think they would raise the price knowing that this is going to sell out. But I think I think even though they said the price that they've chosen for the US didn't have tariffs in it, I think they would have chosen a price that like put them in a good position knowing where the world was heading.
Do you think if there were to be a price increase, it would just affect the US? It wouldn't flow through to the rest of the world?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I feel like it's not going to touch Australia, who is pretty much unscathed and coming out on top for the first time ever since I've been covering video games. So
we seem to get pre-orders first, didn't we? Did any other country get them kind of at the same time as we?
No, we were the first, and I think
they've rolled out everywhere else now, apart from the US.
The UK,
like
the UK happened.
Yeah. And Japan, I think, is happening.
Nintendo Australia hasn't yet, I don't think. Even though like other retailers have.
Right, like through their website directly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Presumably that's how they're kind of handling it in most places as well. Everything kind of going
the lottery and stuff.
Direct. Yeah. James, a week on, how is the kind of price of the console sitting with you? That's kind of been the biggest talking point, I feel, over the last week. A lot of people
of talking about the price with everyone. Like, I think it's fine. Like, does everyone here agree or not? Are we just... I just... Because I think a lot of people are talking about the price in comparison to, say, like a PS5 or a Steam Deck, right? That's the two things I seem to hear from a lot of people. And to me, like, they're just not comparable. Like, like the Steam Deck, I feel like the Switch 2 will run your some games better than the Steam Deck will.
Than the base model Steam Deck, yeah.
Yeah. And then the PS5, like, I don't know. I feel like I said before a few episodes ago, Nintendo's like cadence of releases. I feel like that makes it worth it if that's what you're in for, right?
I think I can see both sides of it. I think like on paper, like for the tech, it's priced well, but I think like Nintendo's always been like the cheaper console, right? Like that you buy for your kids. Like I'm not saying it has to stay that way, but like this is more expensive than like the PS5 Astrobot bundle or like very close to that. So like it is expensive for a Nintendo console. But I think when you look at other handhelds and like the tech in this, like it's high end. Like it's the best case scenario for what we had been talking about for the last 3 years. So like obviously that's going to come with a price bump.
I just think a lot of people shat on the Switch for so long because of the performance and the hardware and such, and now it's actually got some like juice behind it. Now everyone's like, it's too expensive. It's like, well, what the fuck do you want?
In saying that, I don't know if Nintendo put their best foot forward in terms of what they showed games-wise, because I just like don't know if Mario Kart really speaks to that power either.
I think, and I think that is probably even Donkey Kong. I feel like those two games are using that extra power for gameplay quirks rather than, say, as we discussed previously, Daisy's ass hairs. Do you know what it like? So it's not immediately obvious that this is a big jump. And
that's like if it had GTA 6 or something, I think it'd be a
that's why I always thought maybe Metroid
But they also showed
Cyberpunk
running on it.
I mean, but they didn't show it. Like there was, I feel like we only know about that because of everyone
I had to bring it to the world.
Yeah, that's only because of Shannon. No one else would have talked about it otherwise, obviously. Hardest working man in games. But yeah, like I mean, I feel like Metroid was a good game maybe to showcase that a little bit more realistic look, but they chose to put that in a very quick, like 20-second clip instead. But yeah, like I personally think, I think like Australia, if you were to do direct conversions, like we got a pretty good price considering. Uh, I guess, yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
think
It's
I think it's
people get
fine. Like, I
thousands
don't.
of hours out of these things, right? Like you have it for 8 years. Like I don't know how anyone can ever be upset with the price
Yeah,
of
I
it.
don't.
Really,
Yeah, I just
in
wasn't.
saying
I
that,
was
it's a lot of
expecting
money.
so much more, and personally, so I was like surprised when it was like so low. But
Yeah.
I just, yeah, I
I
guess
think it is a
everyone's
little bit tough. Like wages aren't growing at the same rate that inflation is kind of pushing prices up, and like I think technology is just kind of expensive at the moment. We're kind of seeing that everywhere, and it's particularly felt, I guess, like in gaming, particularly in like PC gaming, right? So I can kind of
agree.
understand it being a bit of a difficult.
I agree with all
pill
of
to
that,
swallow.
except people are still buying portable PCs and PS5s. Like
Yeah.
it's not really, to me,
Yeah.
like an issue. I just think it's because people can't get out of their head. They think Nintendo games are worth less, which they have. Like they've literally been worth less. Like money, you pay less for them for the last X years, and now that they've made that jump to that more expensive 4K development,
Yeah.
and that's gone up. I think it's just, yeah, I don't know. I think there's just like it needs to be like a mentality shift in some way.
Yeah.
You can still
I
get.
personally, like, I think this is like a mature step for Nintendo. Like everything from the design to like how they're talking about graphics and like HDR and 120 FPS. Like it finally feels like it's not on PS5 and Xbox Series X levels, but like it feels like a mature step to like be that console, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think like the kind of comparison to the Steam Deck 2, like it's a difficult one to make, but I think like considering that sort of entry level Steam Deck is kind of, I think about the 630 mark, something like that, isn't a 1080p screen, doesn't come with like a dock that connects it to a computer, doesn't come with these magnetic Joy-Cons that, you know, are a tricky piece of kit in itself. Like I get that's a difficult comparison to make, but just on that comparison alone, like it does look like pretty good value. And
I also think
you're also getting the benefit of playing Switch exclusive games, right? Where sure,
and also
the
good
Steam
luck
Deck's
getting
got
a Steam Deck to output at like 4K with a reasonable level of easiness, convenience, right?
Yeah.
Like nothing's gonna beat just sticking the Switch in that dock.
I will say where probably Nintendo lost people a little bit is like stuff like the Welcome Tour. I think just should have been a pack-in. Like they've always
For
done
sure.
pack-ins, like with like their most popular games. And I'm sure, I think you did speak about it last week, but like stuff like that, charging for it, even if it's $10, like I just think having that included, like would have just went down a lot better than the situation we're in at the moment.
Yeah. We're touching on a lot of topics that Adelaide Ben One over on our YouTube channel commented in response to last week's episode. He kind of drew that connection that the Switch 2 might be a cheaper console for appealing to families in the way Nintendo consoles often have, and that the PS5 kind of digital console rivals it at a cost as well. Brody, do you think Nintendo might be taking a bit of a gamble pricing the console where it has, and would you maybe make the case for considering a PlayStation 5 over a Switch 2?
Yeah, look, it depends on what you're after, I suppose. I think Shannon makes a good point that I think they're going for a more mature approach to their, I guess, marketability now. Like they've always been Nintendo to that point, but I guess that has only got them so far. Like obviously, their first party output is great, as James said, and they were really great for indies in the last generation, but by doing what they're doing and upping their tech, they're now going to be great for third party across the board as well. So it just, I guess it broadens the net of people they might bring in more than anything, I'd say, because, people that might have, you're not going to get a legacy version of FIFA now on the Nintendo. Like you're going to be able to probably get the same one that you would get anywhere else. So I think they could bring in, I guess, more of those people who always have had an interest, I suppose, in playing Mario or playing Donkey Kong, but wanted to play their general Call of Duties and their FIFAs and stuff. Like they don't have to just go to PlayStation or Xbox now. They could take a chance on Switch. It is unfortunate that obviously some families will feel like they're getting squeezed out of it and they won't be able to, I guess, upgrade quite so soon. But at the end of the day, I suppose the support's not going to be there as much for the Switch. Like all these games aren't cross-platform and stuff, but there are still going to be releases coming to it, I suppose, so they can always upgrade later or, get a Series S, which is a great value proposition for families.
Yeah. that's
Not
a fair point.
hashtag
Actually.
not sponsored.
Yeah.
By the way, very
I think
smooth.
it's
Where's my Xbox
important
fridge?
to note that like
Yeah.
Nintendo have come out and said that they're planning to support the original Switch for like some years still. And I think Team Cherry came out and said that Hollow Knight 2 would Silk Song would be coming to the original Switch. Yeah, maybe take what Nintendo say with a pinch of salt around that. But I mean, historically, maybe with the exception of the Wii U, they've been pretty good at
It'll get
supporting
Just Dance
kind
games
of.
for the next 10 years.
I think it's a
and
tough
the install
one,
base
right?
on the
Because
Switch
like
is so big.
they announced so much exclusive, like everything they announced was exclusive. Like I wasn't even expecting Mario Kart and Donkey Kong to be exclusive. So like you really do have to update day one if you want the biggest Nintendo games.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's. I mean, Pokemon, right? Like, if you're a Pokemon person,
Yeah,
you can.
true.
I would argue you've got at least till the end of the year to kind of need to upgrade. And if you're a Pokemon person, you're used to it performing like shit anyway. So like nothing's lost there. But yeah, I mean, I feel like with like buy now pay later schemes and stuff, I feel like most people will be able to like make it happen.
Yeah,
Not that I'm
Take a
saying
second
to
look
endorse
at
that.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
Look, only buy this thing if you can justify it and you can really afford it.
I haven't
But I
even looked
also-
at like the
but
trade
on-
deals and stuff, but like you can get rid of your, like you can sell shit and like get money together to buy it.
And
I know again,
yeah, I
it's
feel
probably a
like
little
sell
bit.
your
we sound,
fridge.
we sound like real assholes saying that, but it's true.
Oh,
Like, but
yeah.
if you really want it and you've got shit, sell your shit. Like, I don't know, and if you don't like,
Work
Yeah.
60
I'm gonna
hours a
start
week, you
telling
lazy
people,
dogs, if you want to switch
stop
to.
going out for avocado on toast and buying
wow.
cigarettes.
Well,
Here
we've
we are.
known
I'm
that
just
this
gonna
is
start
coming for
becoming-
years as well.
You've had 6
I'm
years
not
to
like
save.
that.
It's been rumored. Come
Nah,
on.
yeah, I'm genuinely not like that. I'm not making like cigarette comments, but yeah, like I don't know. I don't think it's that bad. I think, and I think a lot of the people complaining about the price are probably also people who never going to get it anyway. So it's like, well, like go and buy your fucking Steam Deck and see how that goes. Like if that's what you want, do you know what I mean? Like just do that. Do whatever you
I'm
want.
sorry to set you off, James.
No,
No,
but,
it's
and that's
just,
that.
you don't understand.
No,
You
no, no,
all
but
the
that's-
comments, like even like my close friends who I'm like, no, fucking don't talk about the price with me. Like I'm sick of it. Like if you don't want it, scroll on. Go buy something else. Like spend
is a good
another
point, though.
$700 on Pokemon cards.
As much as I
Yeah.
hate the Steam Deck and ROG Ally and stuff being brought into it, like the competition now is stiff. Like this had to be powerful because there's that many handhelds from every PC brand that can run the latest AAA games. And yes, it doesn't have Nintendo games, but like it runs every other game like really damn well. You can get Nintendo Switch games on them if you
Yeah.
are a naughty person, but-
I can play Switch on my Steam Deck already. Like that's like the vibe, like from these people. And
No,
it's
but,
like,
but
cool.
seriously,
I'm
just
so
like
happy for you.
doing a Switch 2 with like marginally better specs just wasn't going to cut it this time around, and that comes with it costing more money. Like the Switch tech was so old even when it came out, like so it had to be how it is.
Yeah, I think for like the kind of considering this console doubles as like a home console and has the benefits of portability, like it's something that kind of does it all. Gives you access to the exclusive games, albeit you are paying for those. It's not like you're paying for the privilege, I suppose. It doesn't surprise me that it is priced the way it is, and I was kind of fully anticipating that price, and maybe we're a bit more kind of paying more attention to these things than most, and it's not until people see the headlines of Nintendo Switch 2 announced and it costs $700 that people kind of wake up to that. But yeah, I don't know.
People were outraged with the original Switch price, if you remember. Like people, especially in Australia, like there was so much outrage about it being like
Really?
$4.70
Yeah.
or
I don't
whatever.
remember.
Yeah, like more. That was more just the conversion, which we always get stiffed on. But yeah, it's always a talking point.
I do feel like there's
I
an
haven't seen,
element
like-
of like us kind of millennials kind of now at the point where we're like, back in my day, games were only $5. There's a bit of that going on now as well.
I'm not like that at all. I'm like, whatever. Charge me
That's
whatever,
never
I'll
been the
buy it.
case.
Yeah, I'm literally like, who cares? You only live once. Life sucks. Just spend money on
Spend your money.
You can't take it with you.
Go.
Nintendo.
Take that trip. Take that Switch 2 on that trip when you can, because you've bought both. Upgrade to business class. Enjoy your life. But yeah.
Look, I
Anyway.
did want to kind of just ask you about the sticks not being Hall effect as well, but that just kind of feels a bit meaningless now after this.
No, we can talk
Does
about
that bother you at all?
That's fun. I don't. I believe them when they say they're better.
Yeah,
I think they don't want to say too much because of all the lawsuits that are still going on, right?
that's fair.
I don't know enough about all of this. Like, this is probably a Shannon question, and maybe he could speak. But I think
I think that's an invitation, Shannon.
I'm assuming the magnets in the Joy-Cons interact with the Hall effect magnet vibes. If that's the scientific.
I didn't consider
technical-
that.
Apparently, that's a big
idea.
issue.
Yeah,
if that's correct, and the magnets are. Well, I'll just let you speak rather than keep speaking.
I feel like it could just be their version of a Hall effect analog. Like, they've probably done something very similar that makes it the same without it being Hall effect. And I think I've seen a lot about like the parts all being bigger, so there should be less room for them to break down. Or like if there is stick drift, it'll be less noticeable because there's more room for movement. I've seen so much about. I don't know if any of us have ever had stick drift. I don't want to speak for you, but I don't feel like any of you have Ewan.
Yeah. That being
360
said,
I did.
I'd just like throw it in a bag, so like I'm shooting myself in the foot. But
Yeah, like it's not to the point that you're like crying and losing sleep over it, like some people online.
Yeah.
I feel like it used to be. I feel like they did improve it at some point, and I do feel like if they've said they've made it better, like I trust them. I know that them saying Hall effect would just like ease everyone's fears completely, but I do trust that they've fixed it. We'll see.
I think from a
I
liability.
did get one of these
standpoint,
things,
right?
which I highly recommend, and these are Hall effect sticks.
So what is that for people who aren't watching?
Oh, it's it's a Game Sir controller that like clamps to your Switch, and it's got
Very
like, proper
dynamic.
grip to it and stuff.
I
Big
will
fan.
say that like the analog sticks did feel really different. Like they were very smooth gliding and just felt totally different to the original Switch. So whatever is in there, they are different to the original analog
Nintendo
sticks.
magic.
Nice. You've teed me up very nicely, Shannon, to ask you about your experience going hands-on with the Nintendo Switch 2. I don't know if that was deliberate or not, but I'll take it as a segue. Let's start with the console itself. Like, how did it feel? What kind of stood out to you about holding it in your hands for your first time?
It felt more similar than I expected. Like it's the same thickness, and like it is the same thickness. Like in the hands, it is still quite thin compared to like a lot of the other handhelds that we've used. So I wouldn't say it's like the most ergonomic thing, but where it's better is I guess you get more size in like the Joy-Cons that sort of it gives you more to hold in the right places. So it does feel more comfortable, even though it's got an 8-inch screen. It didn't feel like it was uncomfortable or too big. It felt fantastic. And then obviously I think the favorite thing for me was the magnetic Joy-Cons, like which we knew would be an improvement without even touching them, but like they've just nailed it in terms of like how easy they come off and on.
Do they still feel securely attached? They don't feel too flimsy?
It's like so much more securely attached. Like for the original Switch, that was one of my hates, right? Like you always felt like they wiggled just that little bit, like
and sometimes
around.
I feel like mine had a bit of a
up.
bend to them.
Yeah, or like they weren't even lined up 100%. Like it was just never right. Where this feels like they are part of the console. Like until you want to eject them, like they feel one with the console. So I think just huge improvement with that alone.
It sounds like quite a spiritual experience.
It does.
Did you feel like one with the console when you were attached to it?
Look, I don't know what I felt that day. It was let's not even go into it. But no, I think a really nice piece of hardware. Like I think, like I was saying before, like the Switch feels quite kiddie when you look at it, especially the original one with like the red and blue Joy-Cons. Like I was a little bit embarrassed, like taking it with me on planes and stuff in the end. But this feels like the grown-up version of the Switch.
I got all grey Joy-Cons as quickly as I could. Actually, no, I must have got the grey console. There were 2 SKUs at launch, wasn't there? There was multicolored and the grey,
Yeah, I don't know if you had a structure for
well,
this.
what about the screen? Like, because that's kind of been a talking point that it's not OLED.
Before
James.
No, I just have one question because I remember this came up a lot during the original reveal. You know, there's like little bits that the Joy-Cons connect to. Like the little like chippy.
The little like pluggy bit.
I feel like everyone was going, "Oh, that looks like it'll break." Like, what are your thoughts on that?
It seemed fine to me. Like the way the magnets work. So the SL and the SR button are like, what are they, like a type of metal? So like that's what the magnets connect to. I don't think there's too much room for that to break. And someone asked that to the hardware designers because we had a round table, and yeah, that didn't seem to be any concern there with how they connect and disconnect. Like there's no room for error. The way they've done it is like perfect in terms of how they snap back on and disconnect, and like they give just the right bit of like, so you pull the thing and they slightly push away from the magnets, and then you have to pull them away to put, like, it's deliberate. Like, you can't just knock it and then they pop off. They've really nailed it. I assume, like, there might be issues, of course, with every bit of tech, but I don't think it's going to be like a widespread thing. And just on the Joy-Cons, before I forget, like, that is, like, I just hated the original Joy-Cons and how you had to put, like, the rail on it to use the SL and SR buttons, and, like, this, both in just how they feel in your hands and, like, the fact that those buttons are now actually accessible is just, like, so much better for how the Switch was meant to be used originally.
And
but yes, the screen is a hard one, right? Because, like, again, like, we were really just focused on playing the games. Like, we didn't have, like, an... I don't know. It's definitely a lot better than the original LCD. I think it's brighter than the OLED. For me, like, OLED's always going to have, like, a punchiness and a contrast that you can just never get with LCD. So I think you wouldn't really notice a huge difference unless you compared them. But I just think, like, when you've got, like, you just know OLED, like, right? Like, when you get, like, a black screen with a white subtitles or something, like, there's nothing that can match an OLED screen. So I think there's going to be instances where that does play. But if you're playing Mario Kart or whatever, like, it's a huge, beautiful LCD screen that shits all over the original Switch. And again, like, I'd love an OLED, but you're looking at, like, $100 more, and then people would be self-imploding. So I don't know what people want out of this. I feel like people don't understand that things cost money, like, even for companies. Like, they just, like, it's a
Nintendo doesn't produce screens; they buy them from someone else, right? Like, all there is are all individual components.
Do you
they
think
have to
it's a
buy to
battery
manufacture
life
the console
issue? That's why they went LCD to start.
I don't think so, because OLED are technically more efficient. So, like, that's why the OLED Switch has, like, such a great battery life.
I think they said HDR also was an issue.
Yeah,
but then I was like,
I don't think there's too many
TVs
OLED screens that are, like, 1080p, 120 hertz HDR. I think it is a very LCD.
Yeah.
We'll get it eventually. I don't think there's anything nefarious or, like, they're holding it back to sell you a different version. Yeah, I think it's a solid console. I think the OLED screen is probably the only thing you could pick at potentially, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of chatter about it at launch, but it was fine.
I just think with this console, and I said this last week, because now the dock output is much better than the actual console. Maybe most people would be using the dock more than previously. Like, before, the old Switch was, like, not like that, right? Like, it was the same experience either way, so most people would probably opt for the handheld only.
Well, it's actually 4K now, so you can play it on a TV and it not look like absolute arse. So I feel like there'll be more people playing it on their TVs in, like, a more console-driven experience.
Yeah. I do wonder how many people have OLED TVs. Like, maybe that's quite a rare thing as well. They do tend to be considerably more expensive, right? So, yeah, maybe people would have bought an OLED console and then played on an LCD TV anyhow.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, LED TV.
Other things that stood out to me were a hardware point of view was the mouse thing. Like, I wasn't expecting to really love, but playing Metroid with that, like, it's really cool. Like, so you just put the Joy-Con down and it's mouse mode, and then you pick it up and you can use the analog stick and put it down again and it's mouse mode. Like, you don't have to change any settings, you don't have to turn anything on. Like, it just works seamlessly as you'd expect. And, like, playing Metroid with the mouse mode, like, then going back to analog, like, it was just so much better with mouse mode. And, like, even though Metroid, like, has a quite good lock-on system, like, it still felt like you could, like, lock onto something, shoot it, and then, like, zip to another enemy and lock onto that. Like, it just felt great. And again, like, we had, like, a standing desk with, like, a mouse pad in front of us, so I don't know how that's going to translate to, like, a living room, but it felt cool.
It is wild to me that people are, like, loving this mouse functionality. Like, you're not the only person I've heard say that, and that was their preferred way to play Metroid specifically. I guess it makes sense, like, assuming it works, but I guess I didn't imagine, like, a Joy-Con on its side was going to be all of that nice feeling a mouse, but here we are.
In terms of, like, a mouse, it's not, it doesn't have any, like, lasers or sensors on the actual bottom of the Joy-Con, right? So it's really just doing it all through gyro.
No, it has a sensor.
Yeah.
It's both.
Oh, it
it's
does.
like gyro and an optical sensor.
Okay.
It's just like a mouse. It's literally a mouse sensor.
No,
so
yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. So, but then I think we might have talked about this last week. But do you think, like, if, say, you're sitting on a couch and you want to put it, like, I don't know, on your leg or next to your couch, do you reckon that would work fine? Or
I think so. I mean, I don't know how. Like, it's obviously not going to be smooth as the table. Like, it depends on the makeup of your
I
leg
guess it
and
depends
how
on your leg
lumpy and
size
puffy.
and width.
Yeah.
How hairy is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
I don't. You're not like. It's like a mouse, right? Like, if you saw my desk in the room I had to work with my mouse at the moment, like, it's very minor movements. Like, you're not
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
right,
going
yeah,
from.
yeah, okay.
Like,
It's sensitive. Can
yeah.
you adjust the sensitivity? Did you?
No,
I'm
there was
sure
no
you
like
could.
UI. Potentially.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
per game, right? I'm sure there's options.
Oh,
For me,
yeah, probably.
like, look, it might end up being a gimmick, but for me, the number one thing was like you just use it. So, like, if you want to use it for a few minutes on your lap, and then you decide you want to go to analog stick and then back, like, you can just change it constantly without it being annoying.
I heard it was
painful
as simple
or-
as just picking it up and using it. Like it didn't.
literally, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what he just
yeah.
said.
So,
And not in quite as many words. I was just making that clear.
but yeah, I think everything that I played. So, like, obviously Mario Kart, I won't speak about too much, but like the knockout tour, like battle royale mode, was really cool in terms of how that works, and like the free roam as well. Like, we only got a taste of that whilst waiting for the knockout mode, but like I was genuinely shocked with how Mario Kart like feels in terms of an evolution of that game. So I love what they've done there. And similarly, Donkey Kong, I think the demo wasn't the greatest, but I can see like signs of like Odyssey greatness there as well, and just like how it looked in 4K or whatever it was running at, like looked incredible for a Switch game. What else did I play? Yeah, Zelda. Obviously, they both looked really good at 60 FPS, like they should have originally. And Metroid also running at 120 FPS looked great. Like, to be honest, the whole day was kind of a blur in terms of like I didn't come out with any huge in-depth takes, but I guess my number one thing was like the Switch is better. Like, all of the games run super well. It feels like this Switch experience you'd expect if you're playing on like a PS4 Pro or I guess like a PS5 or a Series S or X. And I think that's the most we could have asked for, really.
Yeah. Which of the games did you play were you kind of most excited, or are you most excited to return to? Is there one you've been like, I really wish I'd played more of that, or can't wait for it to come out?
I think Mario Kart, like in terms of new games and what's there, like I just think we've got the direct for it next week, and I feel like we're only just scratching the surface in what we know. Like, it's very clear they've been working on this for like a decade.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong was really cool, and to be honest, Tears of the Kingdom I only played like 5 hours of at the time, and like that looks so good now, like both on handheld and in docked mode. Like, it just looks phenomenal. So I'm keen to return to that and play through that now that it feels like it's not a janky experience.
Yeah. I reckon it'd be cool to dive
But yeah,
back into that myself
even
as well.
just like seeing Cyberpunk and Split Fiction and Street Fighter, like everything just looked great, and I think it's really going to be promising for the future of Nintendo handhelds. And
Well, go and
consoles.
check out Shannon's full previews over on the site then. I think you posted on your TikTok as well, right? Some kind of gameplay of you playing different games as well. So go and check both of those out. I do have one more Switch topic I want to get to before we move on to some different news. And that was Hades 2 being announced as a Nintendo Switch 1 and 2 exclusive title on consoles at least. So presumably PC excluded from that. Brody, first to you, what are your thoughts on Supergiant making this decision to go console exclusive with the Switch?
Probably, yeah. I don't know. I feel like now that Hades is kind of like a really big household name, it would have been better to spread the market, I suppose, and go everywhere. But I assume Nintendo backed the money truck up to some degree to make it
I think
worthwhile
the
for them,
first
and I
game
hope
was
they
like
did.
that, wasn't
But
it?
Hades 1 was a Switch exclusive as well, wasn't it? At launch.
I'm very
Yeah.
sure it was Switch first.
Yeah, so I mean, there's some precedence for this, I suppose. So, look, as long as all parties are happy, I suppose. I don't have any dramas with it personally, but yeah, I mean, it'll only be like a year exclusivity or something like that, and then it'll come to everything else, and then it'll have another big media beat. So it'll be good for its legs, I suppose. So yeah, it should be.
I do think like the Switch is well suited to like roguelikes and and it's kind of, you know, got a reputation of being an indie machine as well. So I think it does feel right at home on the Switch. But yeah, given that it's now a multi-platform game with the first, and that has the early access been available on consoles, or is that just
No, it's just
on
PC
just on
so
PC?
I've been
Okay.
playing it exclusively on many of my handhelds, and I feel like it's a perfect game for that, like pick up and play. I couldn't imagine like playing it at a PC.
Even a console, like on your, I don't know. I feel like it's, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if I agree with that. Like you can still.
Oh, well, what's the
You can
surprise?
still connect a
play
controller
every
to your
roguelike
PC.
on a
Like
handheld.
that's
Nah, it's, yeah, I don't know.
It's a game that can be played by anyone for anyone.
In any
Yeah.
situation.
I do feel for PlayStation and Xbox owners that are Hades fans. I do feel like Hades kind of won its fan base on PC and Switch. So you could kind of make that argument. It's like the people that are the biggest Hades fans probably have a console or a PC that they're going to be able to play Hades 2 on. But yeah, I'm sure there are gamers out there that like they fell in love with Hades on PlayStation and Xbox and will be disappointed to see this
maybe-
news.
I
but
mean,
Netflix users-
at
everyone
least
owns
it's
a
not
don't
Switch.
Switch 2 exclusive.
Yeah,
At least
everyone
it's
owns a
available on the
Switch.
original Switch.
Yeah, I just don't think it's that deep.
Not everyone owns a Switch.
Some people own two.
140
like-
fucking million people own a Switch. Like, if you don't
They're
own one, at this
statistically
point-
more likely to own a Switch over the other two. Like,
If
it's literally the numbers you would.
Do we think Nintendo like paid for this exclusive, or is it? I don't really know a lot about this team, or is it just them wanting to work on one platform at a time?
I'd say
Sure.
they would have made enough money to be able to launch everywhere if need be.
Yeah.
I'd say this is Nintendo paying for it. I'd guess,
Yeah, I'm sure
without
that's a
knowing.
big part of it. It wouldn't surprise me if there's like an element of like kind of just prioritization and kind of what works into their workflow. But yeah, I'm sure the bigger portion of it is whatever deal they've struck with Nintendo. And it's like quite a coup for Nintendo as well. I think it's a huge boon for them.
Are you upset,
Unintended.
Ewan?
Am I upset? No.
No, okay. Just checking.
I've got my Switch 2 pre-ordered.
That's hot.
And I haven't
I
yet
think,
dived
like,
into
people would-
Hades 2 on
I would,
early
I
access.
would make a
and I could
bigger
on my
argument
on my PC.
about the FromSoft game being more of a,
Yeah.
step in a different direction, different audiences and stuff. But there's
Yeah.
the buzz around that, I think, as well. I don't know. I think it's fine.
Do we think
Yeah,
we'll
it's very
see
true.
more of this now that Nintendo like can entice anything and everything from publishers?
I guess it depends. I think it's hard to tell, right? It's that kind of like, do you want to be? It depends on how much the units sell. I guess. Like, do you want to be where all those people are? But there's also a chance it might not be where all the people are. Like in 2 years' time. Like, yeah, I don't know.
I think
Maybe.
I think there is a chance, Shannon. I don't think you're wrong. And hopefully it kind of, I'm curious to see like how quickly third party support of the OG Switch kind of drops off, given the kind of disparity that would sort of introduce between like your kind of lower powered consoles and your kind of top tier.
It's
like
gone,
obviously
I reckon.
catering
It's
for that
dropped.
full breadth is really hard. So
It's the
maybe
Xbox strategy, baby.
yeah. Well, yeah, obviously the Xbox Series S has been kind of a sticking point for a few developers. And, we've just seen the Switch, the OG Switch kind of left out the equation in some of those situations. But yeah, maybe we'll start to see the OG Switch and maybe the Xbox Series S kind of opted out in favor of releasing on higher spec consoles. But yeah, I don't know if that Xbox
You
necessarily.
can't opt out of Series S, I don't think.
No,
So that's a
yeah.
problem for them.
And I don't know
Yeah,
that the
it's a
Series
major
S is going to
problem.
be fundamentally worse off tech-wise than the Switch 2 anyway.
Yeah, fair point. They're probably on an equal footing. Yeah.
I mean, the Switch 2
Yeah.
can do 4K, right? I don't think the Series S can.
Okay,
Is that
so that's
correct?
one small difference. In terms of computing, though.
Ah, no, it's only 1440p, isn't it? The Series S. Yeah. Is that right?
Anyway.
I want someone to fact check me on that. Speaking of Xbox, though, they announced their showcase for the middle of the year. It's going to be followed by the Outer Worlds 2 Direct, putting a spotlight on that game. So the showcase and the Outer Worlds 2 Direct will be taking place on Monday, June 9th here in Australia. So that's kind of falling within that kind of summer game fest sort of period that's replaced E3, rest in peace, mid-year. James, maybe I'll come to you first. What games are you hoping, or what are you hoping to see, games or not, from Xbox during this showcase later this year?
I
Do you
don't
have a
really
wish list
know
at this point in time?
I genuinely don't know anymore. Because obviously Fable's been pushed out of this year now.
Yeah.
So, and then usually when they do that little like direct afterwards, right? It's like Call of Duty Black Ops or like Starfield, like the next big brand from Bethesda. And now it's
Outer Worlds is a choice.
Yeah, it's. I'm not saying that's a bad game. I'm just saying it's not like this. To me, like we all kind of know what it is in a way.
I think it speaks to
it's not a
what
showstopper
kind of
necessarily.
holiday season Xbox is going to have.
Yes, and that's what I was getting to. Is like I'm kind of like that's the marquee event for Xbox. Like for this year, like I'm not sure that's what they need at this stage. Personally.
It means like Obsidian will have literally carried Xbox this year, like with Avowed.
Yeah, like I mean, Avowed, and then there was something else, wasn't there? I can't even remember the last 6 months.
Not from them specifically, but
yeah, okay.
What's happening with Oblivion?
Well, that was who knows?
that'd be a shadow drop.
That
That'd
could
be a
be.
shadow drop of
I
this
could
thing.
see that happening.
It seems
now,
like it's
maybe
imminent though. Like I can't imagine. Like I just if you're reading the tea leaves and stuff, right? Like what all the rumor is, it sounds like that's gonna drop like any moment now. Would they wait until June? Maybe.
I mean,
It's only a couple
why not?
months. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not that
true.
far
Actually,
away.
I forget. Pretty far through into the year now.
They are in a weird. They're in a weird spot. Like the only game now that I'm like super excited for is still Fable and Perfect Dark, and I feel like neither of those will make an appearance in like any way. And even like Ninja Gaiden. Actually, Ninja Gaiden's meant to be this year, so that could be good.
State of Decay 3 is ready for its big moment.
Yep.
I think we'll probably get maybe an update on Gears E-Day as well.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
would. Say,
yeah.
I reckon there'll be like 2 Gears projects. Not
Yeah,
that I
the
want that,
collection.
but I think there'll
the
be like
trilogy or whatever.
some kind of like here you go while you wait game, but also then the big one's still like ages away.
Yeah.
I just feel like we sit here every year and we're like, this is their year.
I think
just
we're
doesn't-
there. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
last year's showcase was very good.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, okay, fine.
And like
And
their
they've been
first
off to
party
a
output this year
banging
is going to
start
be
this year.
fine. It's fine.
Yeah. I do
business is
worry
fine
that
now
they
that
should
they
have
put-
paced themselves a bit better this year. Like I feel like this kind of, we're about to get Doom the Dark Ages as well. I feel
True,
like the
we forget
first
about
half
that.
of this year was stacked. They kind of needed to spread some of these games out. Like I'm a little bit worried about South of Midnight at the moment. Like it came out, I think it got pretty decent reviews. I'm eager to kind of fire it up for the first time and play
It's lost
it.
in the
But
chatter, I think, a little bit.
yeah, I feel like it is a little bit lost in the chatter at the moment. And, that might be entirely their fault. The Switch has kind of dominated the conversation. But I do think that's maybe a game they could have lifted and maybe put in like an August or September sort of slot and maybe had a bit more success.
I just think they
Launch on
also need
PS5
to
next
sort.
year. It'll have
They
its moment.
also really
Yeah.
need to sort out their strategy with these early access like things that they do for all these games. You know how you can pay like $15-20 whatever, get it a certain amount of time early. But like with
Yeah.
South of Midnight, like I feel like that one was like 5 to 3 days early access. Reviews
Yeah.
dropped like a day before that, and then everyone couldn't play it on Game Pass for about a week after that, which is their main model.
Yeah,
think
it did.
all
It
over-
annoyed me because like I saw a review go live and then I wanted to play it 2 days
But you-
ago and I could finally play it last night.
I did the
I mean, I
exact
guess
same
the answer
thing.
to that
And
is
I was
pay the $15, but then it's
But no
also
one's
like,
ever going to
why am
pay
I-
for the $15. Like we.
And
No.
some people
particularly
might,
when you're
but
looking
I
at Game Pass
personally-
and there's freer games there otherwise, or in other games you can play.
I do
roll.
think like I'm paying like $50 a month. I think now is that for no?
Yeah,
not that
like
much.
you
How
want to
much
get
is
the
it?
most
Game
out
Pass?
of it.
And I'm like, why would I then paying $15 to pay a game that I might not even like? But I don't
Yeah.
I don't know.
I did the exact same
think
thing the
they
other
need-
day, Shannon. I went to go and play South of Midnight, and I was like, oh, I had this wrong. It's not out for a few days. I'll install Atomfall and play that instead. And I was having a blast playing Atomfall. I was like, maybe I'll just get to South of Midnight when I can. Just play this now.
And then maybe that's a benefit to them because you stay subscribed for longer. But then I don't know if that
yeah, true.
also the intended effect.
I just don't feel like any of their games have the moment that like Nintendo or PlayStation first party games.
because it's
do.
staggered.
Yeah.
For one.
I just think the sooner they can get day releases on everything, Switch 2 and PS5, like the better that Xbox is going to be for it.
Yeah, like I think Forza will do crazy numbers.
It
Yeah.
should.
Because there's really
Yeah.
nothing else like it on PlayStation.
And Indie, like we were saying, is Indie going to sell well on PlayStation
I don't know about that.
next
but
week?
It could.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Another game that should play Forza, plays Indie. They're both great games. Brody, how much interest do you have in the Outer Worlds 2? I mean, we kind of spoke a little bit about it there, but is it a game you're hankering to play?
I'll give it a go. Obviously, being on Game Pass, there's very little risk in giving it a go.
Yeah.
I liked the first game. Obviously, it's that smaller, truncated take on, I guess, like a Fallout type game from Obsidian, which they obviously have some pedigree with anyway. Yeah, I think I'll give it a go. Like, I don't know if I think it's the big tent pole that Xbox needs for the end of the year, but
how does it differ to Avowed? Is it more like guns?
Yeah, it's more
like space
sci-fi than
Fallout.
fantasy, and yeah, more Fallout-ish than like role-playing games. So it has that, but it's like
the tongue-in-cheek.
yeah, very tongue-in-cheek humor. It's like, I like the first one, like, and it can be like
me
ran
too.
through pretty quickly, like so it's good for a weekend sort of jaunt, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they released a little bit of a gameplay snippet today, and that stuff looked pretty good. So I guess I'll wait and see what this direct is. I'll definitely watch it. Like I always like these direct Xbox, their showcases in general, and the way they spotlight things now. It's kind of like their thing. So yeah, eager for it, and in the showcase we'll at least see this year's Call of Duty, won't we? Maybe a new Crash game. We could get that too. Anything's possible with
Maybe.
Xbox now. Anything.
Do we think the handheld's coming then, or do we think it's going to be a Computex with I don't know what ASUS tease. You wrote that up, Bjorn, when I was away. What's the tea with that?
I wrote something up.
The
I wrote
Xbox
up a few
handheld
things.
ASUS tease.
Oh, yeah. The kind of, this is like the co-branded console, handheld console that was kind of rumored a little while back. I guess that probably would be more of a Computex announcement than anything else. I can't imagine Xbox would take any wind out of the sails of that and announce they're a kind of dedicated
Nah, I don't think so.
handheld this year. I reckon that is very much going to be them dipping their toes into the handheld market, maybe getting a feel for what the software of it looks like, that sort of thing, than anything else. And I think ASUS probably makes sense as like a partner to do that. I very much get the impression it's going to be like a skinned ROG Ally, really, which, fine, doesn't need to be anything different than that, right? Yeah. Maybe it'll be the new S. It could be just as powerful as Xbox Series S, right? Curious to see what that turns out to be.
It's coming to me now. I think they'll show Tomb Raider.
Oh.
As in the Tencent one or Amazon, whatever it is.
Well, yeah, I think Amazon owns it now, right? But yes, the next Tomb Raider. That's my shout. Maybe
You reminded me what I
it's
wanted
been
to
long
shout
enough,
out as
right?
well. Everwild. I hope we see that.
Shit.
I think Xbox is just really
It's
good
so
at revealing
long
these
for
games that everyone wants that are on everything else,
And then never putting them out.
So yeah, that too. But yeah, Everwild would be good.
I hope,
What about
I hope
Perfect
Everwild
Dark?
still exists and it's pivoted to being
just
like
said
a third Viva Pinata game, basically.
Oh, that would
It's the last thing I want, but okay.
Hey,
Ewan, don't knock it till you try.
have you even played them?
Yeah, literally.
I
Like,
haven't. No,
Then
but
shut
I
the
like.
fucking mouth.
then shut up. Like, there is.
Everwild wasn't at the showcase last year, was it?
No.
We haven't seen it.
It's been.
No,
It's been.
I haven't
absent
seen it
for a
in
while.
donkeys.
I had a re-reveal like a few years ago, maybe.
Just quickly to like address the disrespect. Viva Pinata, Ewan. Like, there is literally nothing else like it. It is incredible. Like, and
I'll
that's
tell
a
you who'd
big
love it.
game.
Your
It's
mum.
very far off what
I
we
was about to
thought
say, that's
Everwild looked like, right? Though.
Your mum would love it.
Yeah, that's a game you'd be like, my mum just did this, and we were like, yes, Ewan. Like, it's a perfect Ewan's mum game.
Viva Pinata walked so Animal Crossing could run.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know about that, but
I don't know.
but yeah, yeah. I take that back. No, but anyway,
Maybe I give it a go.
Play it,
but-
Ewan.
trust me, Ewan.
Okay.
When you get your 2 first worms to mate, that'll be it. You'll be off.
You'll be hooked.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Played that
Okay.
game for like 60 hours. It's
I reckon I doubled that. It was ridiculous.
Look, I've got a lot of like current games that I'm trying to find time for, but I'll see. I'll see about it. To update you on my mum's gaming though, just because we're totally
No.
off the rails at this
No,
point in
that's-
time.
we're at 50 minutes in you. And
She
press
just
on.
finished
Ewan, move
Dragon
on.
Age. And she's playing Assassin's Creed Shadows now. Anyhow, let's crack on. Last topic of the day. AFL 26 has been revealed after a rumor earlier. We have the official announcement, and it's coming to PS5, PS4, and Xbox Series X and S on May 8th. So in the very, very soon, just next month. It includes a pro team, player, career, and coach mode, and will include every AFL and AFLW player. Shannon, first to you, what sort of hope do you have that AFL fans, I suppose, will be pleased with this game? I know they've sometimes been a little bit mixed in the past, but sounds like this game's got a lot going for it.
Yeah, I think AFL 23, like, obviously it had its issues and, like, it took a while to get all the content that's been promised. But I think this will build on that, and it couldn't possibly be worse, I don't think. So, yeah, it's been a while since, like, a developer has done 2 of these in a row. So I think this should be better than the last one, just for the fact that, like, they built the system 3 years ago and now they're building on it. I don't think it'll be, like, worlds apart from what that was, just because of, like, how quickly we're getting it. But yeah, I think I'm always thankful to have these games. I know Brody is as well.
Yeah, sorry, if you wanted me to elaborate and pick it up from there.
I do.
Yeah, look, to echo Shannon's point, 23 obviously launched very problematically. Like, I think there was a patch almost every day, and the patch notes were as long as fucking
No protein.
War and Peace. I think they were huge. Yeah, and look, I really didn't dabble with it at all after the review period, so I don't really know what the pro team and stuff is like, because that wasn't really in there for the review builds and stuff like that. So I'm curious to see. Like, I'm always seeing, like, tweets go up with, like, the new packs and stuff and the players that'll be in them and all that sort of stuff. So I guess maybe if this one obviously rolls out with it at launch, and, like, say that we do review it, and maybe that's me, I'll give it a look this time, I suppose, and build up the team. But yeah, I guess first and foremost, to echo Shannon's other point, I think it's promising that a 23 fundamentally and framework-wise, I think it had some things going for it in a gameplay sense. It was just really bare bones and unpolished. So I'm hoping that, like, being a repeat team, that they're able to build upon that, and I guess put out a more fuller product.
I will say Big Ant have an AFL game, NRL game, and a new cricket game this year. So Big Ant Day.
Big Ant.
Do we think that's the problem? Like, maybe they are spreading themselves too thin, because it's already
not for AFL and cricket, just because I think they're building NRL. That's been like 10 years, so I don't know what that's going to look like. But that'd be the worrying one for me, which isn't great for Shannon. But we'll see how that pans out.
I think it's cool. Are these some of these modes new? I can't say I'm keeping close tabs with the AFL games are, but
career mode,
a returning mode, like that's come back from past games, but it wasn't in the last one.
Yeah. I think it's cool that they are kind of fleshing it out, and it feels like it's kind of borrowing more from, like, FIFA and NBA sort of games, and just gives you something a little bit better, like a little bit different to do, I suppose. Maybe some people will connect with that more so, like, than playing out each match, but rather kind of simulating the coaching experience and stuff instead. So, yeah,
they should have some big final set piece, like the grand final. Have Katy Perry perform. Just make it like. Go full Fortnite festival with
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, for at the end
like a live event.
Yeah, like make it. Yeah, absolutely. This is how you.
I think
there's an idea
just to get it back on track. I think a few other things have been redone, like marking and like shepherding. Like there's a few other little areas that they've worked on. So like I'm keen to see how it goes.
And in like the listing for the game, like they mentioned specifically like the exceptional fidelity of the game and how like they're bringing some of their like signature skills forward, like using champion data and stuff. So I wonder if there are like little like idiosyncrasies like certain players do that they've managed to like bring into the game just to give it that little extra pizzazz, like whether it's a celebration or a little juke that they do or something like that. It'd be interesting to see how far they go in, like, I guess, polishing this.
Yeah. Settle down. Don't get too ahead of yourself.
8 out of 10. It's coming.
Just
10 out of 10,
be happy
maybe.
if it boots, I think.
All right. With that, let's move to our rapid fire question. Marathon is having a big gameplay reveal later this week. My question to each of you is, out of 10, how excited are you for the game? Shannon, you just quickly threw on a Marathon hat, so I'm assuming 11 out of 10.
I'm excited. I think we had all said, I don't know if we thought this was happening, so it's time to see it and see what it has.
Yeah. I'm kind of like nervous, excited, so I feel like I'm going to say a 7. James?
Like out of respect for Brody, like I'll play it just to see because I know he's a big Bungie boy, and yeah. But I mean, I don't know if I need another extraction shooter in my life personally.
What other extraction shooters are you playing?
Nothing because I don't like them.
I don't need any in my life.
I don't need another one. So is there a problem? No, I
The
don't know.
vibes are high with it. I do like from everything.
I'm
we've seen,
sure
background with
the
set
art
and
is
whatever
cute.
else.
Yeah.
I'll give it that.
Brody, out of 10?
Yeah, for a game that's been built largely on vibes so far, like I'm excited to see some of the gameplay.
The ultimate
but
currency.
yeah, like I'm gonna say a tentative 8 to 9 on this so far. But once I see this gameplay, if I might burst up to a 10.
We'll
just see
lose
what
him
happens.
for a year.
I might. It might be me of old. Back to Bungie I go. I'll see you
Oh
later.
yeah, remember that? I forgot.
Yeah,
that.
when
Make some room on that shelf.
When he would
Didn't come
literally
to PAX
disappear.
for a year because I was playing Destiny. So.
Yeah.
didn't come to PAX.
What an
Didn't
era.
write for the site for a year.
Yeah.
I was gone.
All right. What the Wiki is the Press Start podcast game show where the previous week's winner reads part of a Wikipedia page from an unknown game, and we, the contestants, must guess the game. A point is awarded for each correct guess, with the round concluding after someone has bagged themselves 2 points. As last week's winner, I'm in the hosting chair today, but we have Brody in first place on 10 points. James, you and I are tied in second place on 9 points, and Shannon with a bit of a gap to close on 5 points. But hey, actually, no, you were away 1 week. James was away like 4 weeks, so you've got no excuse. Catch up. Come on. All right. Game number 1. Are you ready?
Yes.
The game was a racing game set in a persistent open world environment for free roaming across a scaled down recreation of the United States.
Brody.
The map was
James.
split.
Oh,
Oh, I heard Brody there first, I think.
yeah, it was.
Shit. What's it called?
There was a
what's it called?
telltale clue. The third word of that first sentence.
Sorry.
I said, no.
Can you
that's
text it to me?
Far too much of a clue.
Scaled down version of the United States. Shit. I'm gonna say The Crew 2.
It is The Crew 2. Well
done.
Did you just look up to the sky and like someone just
I've got
gave you a
another
signal
monitor
from the
up there.
ceiling? Yeah.
Look to God.
It is The Crew 2. Well done. Stretching your lead out a little bit there. All right. Game number 2. Ooh, I'm worried about this. The game challenges the player to explore a mansion with ever-shifting rooms.
Brody.
I was right to be worried. Brody.
Is it Blueprints?
It is Blueprints.
3.
Wow.
Well done,
baby. See
Brody.
you
That's a
later.
clean
The pressure's
sweep.
on.
So he's getting the bonus point there, bumping himself all the way up to 13 points. Yikes. This backfired epically for me. I should have picked it. I nearly picked another game.
Is
I
that out
nearly...
today, Blueprints?
Was that what?
Is it out today?
Tomorrow, I think.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not sure truthfully, but excited to play it. And what a good pick for my fantasy critic.
Hey, and what about Donkey Kong?
Let's
what
go.
about that
Fuck
Donkey
left, right,
Kong?
and center
Hey,
on this thing, I
let's-
can tell you that.
Yeah. I don't know how you called that, Shannon. You just kind of epic reading of the tea leaves there.
Insider trading, I think.
With that, let's bring an end to what was this week's episode of the Press Start podcast. Subscribe to us on Listener or the podcast service of your choice. Follow us at press.au and visit the site at press.com.au. We've been joined today by Brody.
Thank you. You can follow me on most things at Brody_DG.
Also joining us today, it was James.
Yeah, I'm on X at Jams ATJMZ. I'm on other things, but you know.
What, OnlyFans? Should we be
Letterboxd.
looking there? Or?
Not yet. Who knows though? If you need to afford a Switch 2, another way to make it back.
And last but not least, it was Shannon.
Yes, you can follow me at Shannon Grixty and go read, watch all the Switch 2 content.
And I've been your host, Ewan. You can follow me on socials at Ewan_Roxborough. We'll be back again next week. But until then, happy gaming.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.